around 6,000 years before the first pharaoh.
Oh, hi. As you can see, it's the next day. I'm at school in Beverly Hills. Today's my first day at Beverly Hills High School. So, yeah. Let's chill, smoke, and watch YouTube.
And advances in technology and changes in the land and environment that will just make you bored. However, recent analysis of 6 ancient burial sites may shed some light that will grab your attention. Whoever lived here before the Egyptians did things like domesticate cattle and goats, buried their dead in complicated tombs, and they built megalithic structures. We don't have an exact identity for them yet, but judging by the handful of skeletons recently uncovered and a small assortment of artifacts, we can safely say there was an entire civilization living in Egypt before the pharaohs ever took over. We just don't know who they were, where they learned new technologies, or where they came from. And now for number 5, but first want to give a big shout out to Letitia Spoon and Kyle Brown. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe and join the Origins Explained family. We have lots of videos coming up. Number 5. Chamber of Secrets. In 2010, a group of archaeologists working in Kolkata, India, formerly Calcutta, stumbled upon a mysterious Chamber of Secrets in the National Library. This library is over 250 years old, built back in the 1760s as a palace, and then converted into a library in 1891. After the mysterious chamber was discovered, there was a lot of speculation as to its purpose. Some claimed it was installed by British lords and used for torture. Others said it was a secret treasure vault, where the British masters kept all the priceless artifacts that they stole from the local people. Unfortunately for all of us, the Chamber of Secrets turned out to be pretty boring. After all the speculation, archaeologists came out and admitted that the chamber was actually just a pocket in the structure, probably used by the architects to strengthen the foundation of the building. It was basically empty, so if it did ever hold anything interesting, it was long gone. Either that, or a more fun theory promoted by conspiracy theorists, is that the archaeologists discovered something so heinous about the secret chamber's history that they lied to the world. After all, the National Library is a pretty mysterious building on its own, rumored to be haunted with spirits breathing down your neck and making you feel cold while you are trying to read. There are other rumors that the library has other rooms that cannot be opened, chairs that move on their own, and tortured spirits dropping books. Number 4. Forbidden Worship. For hundreds of years, the most important place of worship in Israel was the Holy Temple, a pair of amazing structures atop the Temple Mount in the heart of Jerusalem. It is written in the Bible that the Holy Temple is where God will dwell alongside his people. However, the Holy Temple is no more. It was destroyed by the Babylonian conquest in 587 BC, rebuilt, then destroyed for good by the Romans in 72 AD. According to Tom Meyer from the Shasta Bible College, there was actually a secondary, secret temple in Israel during the days of the Holy Temple. It was hidden in the Negev desert, and if the Bible is to be believed, this was a forbidden place where nobody was supposed to be worshiping anything. In the Old Testament, it's written that God designated only one temple for worship, the Holy Temple. But this secretive temple in the desert, first uncovered by archaeologists in the 1960s, was fully operational for at least 300 years, in spite of the one-temple rule. In other words, people were disobeying God's law. At least they were, until King Josiah destroyed the Forbidden Temple for good in the 7th century BC, leaving behind nothing but a ruin. Number 3. Ancient Olympic Champion. Kyniska of Sparta was one of the most legendary women of ancient times, and yet she's conveniently been left out of history books. Kyniska was a Spartan princess, the daughter of King Archidamus II and the sister of King Agesilaus, and the first woman ever to participate in the Olympic Games. According to historical records, Kyniska was probably between the age of 40 and 50 when she participated in the Olympics in the year 396 BC. This was no ordinary princess. As a royal Spartan, she had her very own stable, where she could breed, raise, and train horses. And since Spartan society actually encouraged both men and women to train in areas of physical strength, it wasn't at all a big shock when Kyniska entered the Olympics. This is in stark contrast to neighboring Greece, where girls were essentially shut away from the public and kept more isolated. Popular culture may show the Spartans as fierce male warriors, but there were plenty of tough women too, as it was an entire warrior society. Kyniska was so tough that she competed in what's called a tethrabon, a type of ancient triathlon involving chariot racing. She won the games in both 396 and 392 BC. This is in direct conflict with what you'll find online, with almost every major news source claiming the first Olympic Games to allow female athletes was in 1900 in Paris. Wrong. It was Sparta over 2,000 years ago, and she won, twice. Number 2. The Nampa Image. The Nampa Image was allegedly discovered in 1889 during the construction of a water well. This was in the small town of Nampa, Idaho. The workers uncovered a small figurine no more than 1.5 inches long inside the sand pump at an incredible depth of 300 feet below the surface. The figurine was made of baked clay and had clearly been fashioned by intelligent hands to look like a human. The issue with the discovery was that it was impossible. The rock where it was found was dated back to 2 million years ago, way before humans were even around, let alone in North America. How would a figurine be lost and then buried under 300 feet of earth 2 million years ago? There's no way. The discovery was quickly dismissed as a hoax. Scientists didn't look into it thoroughly, and the figurine was simply called a fake. Over time, people lost interest, and the object was forgotten. But ancient astronaut theorists and others remember this object and use it as an example of just one of many out-of-place artifacts left behind by an ancient civilization that lived in North America way before human beings had even moved out of Africa. The more likely story is that ancient people did make the figurine, but then it got lost, and it could have just been swept away by water and the elements until it turned up again. It's apparently still on display at the Idaho State Historical Society in Boise. Number 1. The Necronomicon. The Necronomicon, also known as the Book of the Dead, is a grimoire spoken of by the famous author H.P. Lovecraft. It also appears in the Evil Dead movie franchise, but it was first mentioned in 1924 in Lovecraft's short story The Hound. Lovecraft claims the book was written by a real person, someone named the Mad Arab, Abdul al-Azred. The Necronomicon allegedly contains the history of the Old Ones, godlike beings such as Cthulhu. It also tells the reader exactly how to summon them to the physical plane. But just how much truth is there to this mysterious book? Probably just like the lost city of Atlantis, not much. Lovecraft claimed he came up with the name Necronomicon with the help of a dream. But modern historians believe Lovecraft was influenced by a collection of short stories written by Robert W. Chambers titled The King in Yellow. When asked about the authenticity of the Necronomicon, Lovecraft himself admitted there never was any person named Abdul al-Azred, aka the Mad Arab. He also said that he invented everything about the book himself. Still, there are some hardcore believers that say H.P. Lovecraft knew more than he admitted. Lovecraft wrote that there are still 5 original copies of the Necronomicon worldwide, one at the British Museum, another at the University of Buenos Aires, Harvard University, one in France, and the final copy in the fictional town of Arkham, Massachusetts. If the Necronomicon is truly real, these are the places to start looking. Thanks for watching! Which of these examples of forbidden history shocked you the most? What would you like to learn more about? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more. See you soon! Bye!
What else should I fucking watch? What else should I fucking watch, dude? Shit. Oh, I eat the bitch. Oh, what should I watch? What a fucking...
This is my mom and dad, king and queen, and this is me, sitting 5 seats away from the throne. But after...
Hi guys, Charlie here. Our world is full of mysteries and things we simply can't explain. But the most elusive area of our planet is not what's around us or beneath us, but what's above us in the skies. Even though now with modern science we know so much about our world, we have still not been able to explain so many things witnessed in the sky. Today we're going to look at some unexplained, strange and scary things in the sky caught on camera. Light ring. Of course, most of our sky is made up of light. But what's happening in this video seems like something from another planet. An arc of light is seen in the sky. This was seen in Jerusalem in 2018, and this led some people to believe it was a religious sign. People who saw this in person said that the arc appeared to flash in different rainbow colours. But in this video it seems like the two main colours are white and gold. To make things even more strange, this happened on Easter weekend. Maybe it really was some kind of heavenly sign. Or perhaps this is simply a strange cloud formation happening at sunset. Blood red sky. I'm sure at least one time in your life you've seen a red sky. The sky can turn a reddish colour at sunset and sunrise, but I bet you've never seen a red sky last all day long. That's what you're seeing in this video, which comes from Brazil. To this day, it's still a complete mystery as to what's going on here. A loud, mysterious noise can also be heard. But that is also unexplained. There are various possible explanations for this video, but we don't know which one is true. Some believe this could have been the result of a large sandstorm. A similar thing happened in the UK in 2017. Brits everywhere were confused and scared when they saw their sky turn orange. But it turned out this was because of Hurricane Ophelia. The hurricane pulled a massive amount of Saharan dust north up to the UK. The dust created a massive orange cloud. Another explanation for the Brazilian red sky video is forest fires. When a forest fire occurs, a red chemical is often dropped over it using an airplane. The chemical itself is not actually red, but red dye is added to it to tell the aircrew where it's already been applied. So the red sky in Brazil could have been this red fire-retardant chemical. Light sphere. What would you do if you saw a gigantic sphere of light suddenly emerge in the night sky? Well, that's exactly what happened over Russia one night in 2011. A sudden sphere of light was created in the sky. Although it evaporated after a few seconds, people were stunned and confused. But this was later explained by the military. It turned out they were doing a test of an ICBM missile launch. This caused an atmospheric flare in the sky. Now, of course, this led some people to say that the military were lying. They thought that the ring of light could have been caused by a UFO of some kind. But do you really think this was an ICBM launch, or is there something they don't want you to know? Before we move on, make sure you guys subscribe and press the note, but we still don't know how it happens. Reports of ball lightning have been occurring since the 1960s. At first, scientists thought these were totally made up. They vary in size. They can be as small as a soccer ball, or as big as a few meters in height. But one thing science does know is that ball lightning is very dangerous. That is because it's even more unpredictable than normal lightning. Ball lightning has been known to explode, leaving behind the smell of sulfur. In 2016, a Russian man named Roman... Skull clouds. What would you do if you were relaxing one day looking up at the clouds? Then all of a sudden you see one cloud that doesn't look quite right. You take a second glance and realize that you're seeing a skull in the sky. It may sound like something from a movie, but this really happened to many people in Italy in 2018. People looked up in the sky in disbelief as they saw a massive skull over Mount Vesuvius.
Oh, make a splash with this street delivery. Whether you're cruising for a quaddie or angling for an exacta, place your exotic bets with Sportsbet and you'll get the biggest return from all 3 tabs, guaranteed. Top-tone exotics from Sportsbet.
Mount Vesuvius is the volcano that wiped out the city of Pompeii, but it seems it's not done with scaring people just yet. The skull cloud looked similar to the Harry Potter villain Voldemort. The skull cloud was captured by Rosario Minico, who posted it on Facebook. The cloud caused many people to try and escape the city. That's because they believed the volcano may be going off again. Luckily this was not the case, but you can see why people were so scared. What would you do if you saw a gigantic skull cloud forming in the skies above your city? I think I would start packing my bags right away. Wave
If it had a
clouds.
volcano, yeah.
Clouds are one of the most mysterious.
I cannot shoot a volcano or fight a volcano. So I'll be fucking out of the city, cunt. I'll be fucking out of the city. I can't kill the volcano. It kills you with lava. So I'll be out. Since I can't kill it, I will be out of the city. Straight away. You cannot fight a volcano. A fallen tree. A fallen tree, you cannot fight a volcano. So yeah, fallen tree, you cannot fight or kill a volcano, a fallen tree. You cannot fight or kill a volcano. So I'll be out of here. I will be out of the city straight away. No questions asked. Like, fuck that. If I can't kill it, I'll just leave it alone. Simple enough. Press play.
Things in our skies. Take this very mysterious cloud formation, for example. This is known as a wave cloud. Its scientific name is Anasparatus, and amazingly these were only discovered in 2009. It just shows how little we know about skies that we're still finding out new things today. These wave clouds look scary but are harmless by themselves. However, they can serve as a warning for thunderstorms. If you see these wavy clouds, then a thunderstorm may be happening soon. These clouds are actually most commonly seen in the plains of the USA, but they can be seen all over the world in rare cases. Russian sky explosion. Just imagine you're driving down the highway one night when all of a sudden the night sky turns a bright orange colour. You may think that the end of the world is happening, or maybe our sun has just exploded. Well, that's actually what happened in 2014 in Russia. People captured the night sky turning bright orange in a matter of seconds. This was seen at many angles and was verified by scientists, but no one was able to explain it. Some believed that this could have been a meteorite, but meteorites are normally white in the sky, not orange. Some believed this could have been a military test, for example a rocket blowing up, but the Russian military said they were not to blame for the explosion. They said that they also did not know what happened. 2009 Norwegian spiral anomaly. In 2009, one of the most famous sky mysteries happened in Norway. In Norway, a very mysterious spiral was seen in the night sky. People were very scared and confused. A lot of people believed that aliens were really trying to contact human life. But after a few days, the spiral anomaly was explained. It turned out it was a failed Beluga missile launch. The missile's first and second stage went normally, but it malfunctioned at the third stage. This caused the third part of the missile to spin around in a spiral, and this created a spiral of light in the sky.
Shit.
Florida fireballs. Florida has a reputation for being a somewhat unusual state, but in 2020 something happened in the Florida night sky that confused the entire world. Many fireballs were seen flying around the skies. These were seen on many occasions. When this first happened, some believed it was an alien invasion. But it happened again and again and again, and we don't know why. In one
So
30-minute
now
video, nearly 20 orange fireballs could be seen in the sky. These were not shooting stars, as there were far too many of them, and they were far too big. The objects may look small, but they're far away. They're actually slightly smaller than a house. This presumably means that these are dangerous objects, as they could fall and hit Earth. But really we don't know how dangerous they could be because no one really knows what they are. It's not known if these fireballs are military-related, alien-related, or weather-related. It may be something that we simply never find out. But hopefully one day we do, and when that day comes, I will be sure to let you guys know. But now it's time for you to make your voice heard. Comment below which was the most mysterious thing seen in the sky in this video. If you want some more amazing videos, then check out my second channel. But as always, thanks for watching. There are some more videos you might like on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.
What else should I fucking watch, dude? What else should I fucking... What else should I fucking watch? What else should I fucking watch, dog?
Hey girl, what you doing?
Fuck off.
Oh, this is on my way to Man's house. I'm gonna surprise him. Okay. Yes, Tasha, I do remember what happened last time. Because that bitch is in jail now. That's how I know. He's not cheating anymore. Okay?
Number 10. Iram of the Pillars. The Quran makes several mentions of an ancient city or a region called Iram of the Pillars. Roman and Nabatean traders reportedly recognized it for its vast wealth and its lofty buildings. Some believe that Iram was the home of a mighty tribe called the Ad. The Quran says they came right after the time of Noah and built monuments on elevated places. The city sometimes went by the name of Ubar and may have functioned as the capital of the kingdom of Ad. According to the Quran, a catastrophic wind blew through the region for 7 days straight and buried Iram in the sand, leaving no trace of it visible to the naked eye. What's left of it, if anything, is thought to be somewhere on the Arabian Peninsula. Nobody has ever found evidence of Iram being a real place, leading some experts to believe that Iram might have been a myth, a product of folklore that's been handed down through the generations. But even if this is the case, the stories may be rooted in a real place. Many people have searched for Iram, but it remains shrouded in mystery to this day. T. Lawrence, better known as Lawrence of Arabia, described the elusive ancient city as the Atlantis of the Sands. In other words, even if Iram actually existed, it continues to hide from everyone, but there are some desperately trying to find it. Number 9. Greenland Vikings. Eric the Red was a Viking who was exiled from Iceland in 982 for committing a murder. He led a fleet of 25 boats to Greenland, where the settlers established 2 communities. The first one, known as the Eastern Settlement, was situated near the island's southwestern coast. The other village, you guessed it, a Western Settlement, was located roughly 404 miles to the north along Greenland's western coast. There were initially around 500 settlers consisting mostly of wealthy farmers and chieftains who established farmsteads and built Christian churches. They fished, hunted wild caribou and seals, and kept livestock, including cattle, sheep, and goats. The eastern settlement grew to include around 500 farms, while the western settlement had just 100. At its peak, the colony's population numbered around 5,000 people. When Norwegian missionary Hans Egede arrived in Greenland in 1721, he found the settlements in ruins, and the residents had vanished. Researchers don't know what happened to these communities. They think it may have something to do with a mini ice age during the 13th century that was triggered by a massive volcanic eruption in Indonesia. Evidence shows that around that time, Norse Greenlanders switched to a diet that consisted mainly of marine animals. This indicates that their livestock may have died off during this sudden cold spell. Many experts argue that climate change alone cannot explain the Greenland Vikings' disappearance. Instead, they blame a combination of factors, including the possibility that some residents return to Europe. But the plain and simple truth is that our understanding of the circumstances is unclear. Number 8. The Vinca Civilization. The Neolithic Vinca Civilization, also called the Danube Valley Civilization, originated as early as 7000 BC. It grew to occupy a vast swath of southeastern Europe, including parts of modern-day Serbia, Kosovo, Bulgaria, Romania, and Macedonia. The Vinca culture is widely considered the cradle of European civilization. Its people built some of the largest prehistoric settlements in the region, fueled a population boom, and played a major role in advancing farming after it was introduced to the area. The Vinca developed a plow for sowing their crops and began using copper eating utensils at least 1,000 years before they became common in Europe. They were not culturally unified, but maintained solidarity by trading all kinds of Eritrea and northern Ethiopia, as well as parts of Djibouti, Somalia, and Somaliland. It rose to power around 80 AD and met its mysterious downfall in 825 AD. The Kingdom of Aksum was a major player along a commercial trade route between the Roman Empire and ancient India. It used its far-reaching power to influence politics and societies as far away as the Arabian Peninsula across the Red Sea. Aksum was also the first sub-Saharan empire to mint its own coins and adopt Christianity. During the early 7th century, the Aksumites stopped making new currency. Around the same time, residents were forced to flee inland, where they sought refuge on higher ground from some sort of upheaval. The capital was abandoned and resettled at an unknown location. The Oximite Empire is one of the least documented civilizations. Historians know little about it, and the reasons for its collapse are a mystery. One theory suggests that the Oxumites became economically isolated as other civilizations came to dominate the Red Sea, and that this triggered their downfall. According to legend, a Jewish queen named Judith, or Judith,
Let's have another
during the
join.
burning of Aksum's Christian churches around 960. But many historians question whether this story is true, or if Judith even existed to begin with. Another story claims that a pagan queen from a rival tribe was responsible for ending the Aksumites' power. Climate may have also been a factor. During the 1st century, it rained more than usual, increasing the region's food supply. But there was a huge population to support, and it's possible that the land could no longer handle the intense farming that was required to keep people fed. Number 5. Nineveh. Nineveh was an ancient Assyrian city situated on the outskirts of Mosul in what is now Iraq. It was settled as early as 6000 BC during the late Neolithic period. By 3000 BC, Nineveh had become a major religious center dedicated to the Mesopotamian goddess Ishtar. The walled city was built along a fault line and experienced numerous earthquakes, including one that destroyed its temple to Ishtar. Despite these occasional setbacks, Nineveh became a major learning center and functioned as the capital of the Assyrian Empire for much of its existence. It grew to include parks, aqueducts, canals, an 80-room palace, and a library that housed 30,000 clay tablets. People lived there continuously for thousands of years. In the 50 years leading up to 612 BC, Nineveh was the world's largest city. That year, a coalition of allied forces sacked and razed Nineveh. The intruders massacred many of the city's residents and deported others to the countryside. Nineveh never recovered from the destruction, but it wasn't fully abandoned. In the centuries following the attack, the city fell under the rule of various civilizations, including the Seleucid Empire, the Parthian Empire, the Sasanian Empire, and finally the Arabs. By the 13th century, Nineveh was reduced mostly to ruins. Today, the site consists of 2 large mounds and the remains of the city's massive stone and mud brick wall that was built around 700 BC. Sadly, what's left of Nineveh is losing its battle to the elements, looters, and the Islamic State terrorist group, which threatened to eliminate or destroy any remaining evidence of its long and rich history. Number 4. Cucuteni Trypillians. The Neolithic Cucuteni Trypillian culture rose to prominence around 5500 BC. Its people settled across parts of what is now Eastern Europe, including modern-day Russia, Moldova, and Ukraine. Between 4000 BC and 3500 BC, the Cucuteni Trypillians built Neolithic Europe's largest settlements, with populations numbering between 20,000 and 46,000 people. The civilization burned its settlements down every 60 to 80 years and often built new structures at the same sites. For example, the Pădure site in Romania contains 13 layers of remains from settlements that were destroyed and buried by new buildings. Researchers have no clue why the Cucuteni Trypillians did this, but it limited the amount of artifacts they left behind. The civilization also left no signs of a written language. As a result, experts have very little to learn about them. The few artifacts that were found intact include clay totems, copper tools, and spiritual objects. Cucuteni Trypillian settlements were first discovered during the late 19th century. Recent findings reveal that the obscure culture played a bigger role in human advancement than it's given credit for. But because of their habit of destroying the evidence, we'll probably never know the true extent of their knowledge and capabilities. Can you imagine burning your house down every 60 years and having to rebuild it? Let me know in the comments below. Number 3. Kerma. The Kerma culture was one of Africa's earliest civilizations. It established its self-named capital city at least 5,500 years ago in what is now Sudan. Kerma is one of the largest archaeological sites in ancient Nubia, a sub-Saharan region that was known for its gold deposits, incense, ivory, and other luxury products. By 1700 BC, the city was home to at least 10,000 residents. At its peak, it was the most powerful urban center in the region. The city had a royal audience hall, a palace, a mud brick temple, funerary temples, and chapels. Pottery and other items left behind by the Kerma are culturally distinct from the artifacts of neighboring kingdoms, including ancient Egypt. What's more, Kerman artifacts have been found over 200 miles from Kerma, reflecting the society's far-reaching ties with other groups. But the 30,000 graves at Kerma's cemetery show that the civilization was not completely free of influence from outsiders. The Kermans surrounded large graves with smaller burials, showing that they had a social hierarchy that may have been inspired by Egypt's societal structure. Some of their royal burials contain images of the god Horus and other Egyptian deities, as well as Egyptian pottery, amulets, and scarab seals. Egypt and Kerma clearly traded both material goods and cultural ideas.